What happens when the machines behind Germany's most iconic products suddenly go silent? That's the scenario BMW is warning about. The automaker says a severe shortage of semiconductor chips could soon halt production. In simple terms, it means the seamless rhythm of a car assembly line, where each part comes together in perfect harmony, could stop cold. Not because of worker strikes or declining sales, but due to a missing component no bigger than a fingernail. This isn't a minor setback. It strikes at the very heart of European manufacturing. BMW isn't just a company, it's an economic powerhouse. If its production stops, the ripple effects hit workers, exports, and thousands of small suppliers that keep the system running. The culprit? A freeze in chip exports from a key supplier called Nexperia. This situation exposes Europe's most dangerous weakness, its dependence on a global supply chain it doesn't truly control. So, who is Nexperia, and how did one company gain the power to threaten an entire continent's auto industry? Nexperia is headquartered in the Netherlands but owned by a Chinese firm. It manufactures over 110 billion semiconductor chips each year. The simple, low-cost kind every modern car relies on. These chips power everything from your car's windows and dashboard to its sensors and engine management systems. They're the unseen nervous system of every vehicle, and without them, production simply stops. One disrupted supplier is now enough to paralyze Europe's car industry. A single company, caught between Dutch and Chinese trade restrictions, has become a critical choke point, capable of freezing entire assembly lines. How did it come to this? The chip crisis is the result of a perfect storm, a collision of three powerful forces. First came the Dutch government, stepping in to seize control of Nexperia's local operations out of fear that Chinese ownership could strip Europe of vital technology and jobs. Then came China's countermove. In retaliation, it imposed its own export controls, preventing chips made in Nexperia's Chinese factories from leaving the country. Behind the scenes, the United States has been quietly driving this tension, urging allies like the Netherlands to limit China's access to advanced technology. So now, Europe's car industry finds itself trapped between three global powers. Dutch regulators act, China retaliates, and US pressure shapes the stage. What's left is a manufacturing giant like BMW stuck in the middle, its production turned into a pawn in a geopolitical standoff. This standoff reveals a harsh truth. Europe's decades-long strategy of global efficiency has backfired. The continent designed world-class products but outsourced critical components, trusting that trade and politics would stay separate. That illusion is gone. Leaders in Brussels often speak of strategic autonomy, the dream of Europe standing independently in a turbulent world. Yet the Nexperia crisis shows how far that goal remains. When a handful of chips from one foreign-owned company can stop your most valuable industry, sovereignty becomes an illusion. It's like building a magnificent house on land you don't own. At the core of this crisis is a global power shift. For decades, the arrangement was simple. The West invented, Asia manufactured. That model is over. Asian economies are no longer just the world's factories. They're innovation hubs, investing in their own research, technology, and industries. Their strategy has been deliberate. Climb the value chain from making products to inventing them. Control the essential components and you control the system. It's a long-term play that has reshaped the balance of economic power. And now, when a BMW production line in Germany stops, the impact doesn't stay in Bavaria. It ripples outward through suppliers, across borders, and around the world. One halted factory becomes the first domino in a chain reaction that exposes just how fragile the global economy truly is. When the factory floor falls silent, the impact spreads fast. Workers are sent home, local suppliers lose their orders, and the shock ripples outward. Ships that once carried freshly built cars now sit empty in European ports, while trucks meant to deliver them stand idle. The disruption doesn't stop there. It lands squarely in your neighborhood car dealership. With fewer vehicles arriving, supply tightens while demand holds steady. Prices for both new and used cars rise, and the ripple becomes personal. This is the hidden cost of our hyper-connected economy. When one tiny chip stops moving halfway around the world, every consumer feels the shock in their wallet. Europe's response is bold and expensive: the EU Chips Act. It's a multi-billion euro plan to reclaim control over semiconductor production and double Europe's share of the global chip market. The idea is simple: bring chip making home. Massive investments will go into building fabrication plants, advancing research, and nurturing local expertise. But money alone won't solve this. Creating a competitive chip industry takes years, deep technical know-how, and a level of innovation that Asian and American companies have refined over decades. Europe is now racing against time to close a gap that's been widening for a generation. Whether this grand plan restores independence or merely patches the problem remains an open question. What's clear is that this isn't just about cars. BMW's chip crisis is simply the most visible symptom of a much larger problem. The same semiconductors are vital for medical devices like MRI scanners, factory robots, and even the renewable energy systems driving Europe's green transition. When chip supplies dry up for automakers, hospitals, manufacturers, and clean energy projects all feel the strain. This isn't a single sector slowdown, it's a systemic weakness. Modern life runs on these components, and the fragility of their supply chain threatens everything from healthcare to climate progress. The foundation of the global economy is trembling. We are living through the end of an era, the collapse of the old, efficiency-obsessed trade model. Globalization once promised smooth supply lines and ever lower costs. Now, geopolitics has turned those same networks into battlegrounds. Welcome to the age of economic statecraft, where supply chains have become instruments of power. Export bans, sanctions, and investment controls are the new tools of diplomacy. A trade dispute between Washington and Beijing can now shutter factories in Munich or Stuttgart. The boundary between commerce and politics has vanished. In this new landscape, terms like de-risking and friendshoring have replaced free trade. De-risking means reducing reliance on a single country. Friendshoring means sourcing from political allies. The mission is no longer finding the cheapest option. It's finding the safest. The global economy is fracturing into smaller, politically aligned blocs. Some nations with strong domestic industries or stable alliances will thrive. Others will scramble to adapt, hoping to attract investment from companies fleeing uncertainty. But for ordinary people, this transformation comes at a cost. Building redundant, politically secure supply chains means higher production costs, and that translates into higher prices. The world is trading efficiency for resilience, speed for stability. The BMW Nexperia crisis is not an anomaly. It's a preview of what's to come. It shows that in the 21st century, true economic power doesn't come from innovation alone. It comes from owning and controlling the essential components that make innovation possible. The future will belong not just to those who design great products, but to those who control the technology that keeps the world's machines running,